What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with my Week 12 running back rankings, doing half point PPR this week, as always. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below. If you have any fantasy football questions, start, sits, trade advice, any of that stuff you want help with in your league to help you win your title, just throw it down in the comments. I respond to all comments. I can help you guys out. Make sure you hit that sub button, stick around. Just want to say, some people, if you're in a 2 week playoff format, you are in the playoffs now. So we're really getting down to these nitty gritties. Even if you're not in the playoffs, you're in that last playoff push. These are some vital weeks. So stay tuned. You don't want to get lax and lose your title in the last few weeks. Okay, so let's talk running back rankings. So at one, I've got Christian McCaffrey, and this might seem crazy for Jonathan Taylor's coming out that crazy game, but Jonathan Taylor draws a tough matchup with Tampa Bay, even though they've lost Vita Vea. But McCaffrey's just so stable, and he's going against a bad Miami defense, and he gets that pass catching work, which makes him just so stable every week. Jonathan Taylor is at two, and he is the RB1 moving forward in my mind. He's just a dominant football player. Three, Austin Eckler against Denver, another guy who basically any matchup is going to be fine, similar to Christian McCaffrey because he catches the ball. Four, Najee Harris against Cincinnati, just gets a ton of volume. I don't see Cincinnati really, locking the clamps onto him. Five, Dalvin Cook against San Francisco. I think Cook is a guy who could just take off over these last several weeks. He hasn't really been, vintage Dalvin Cook, but I think we're going to get it soon. He's starting to get more and more work and, had a good game against Green Bay. Six, DeAndre Swift against Chicago. Seven, James Robinson against Atlanta. I think he will, Atlanta's a good matchup for him on the ground, and hopefully he'll be full go this week. Eight, Ezekiel Elliott. The only reason he's down here is just I know he had a full practice in yesterday, but playing on a Thursday after that ankle injury he had, it didn't look great, but I think he's going to be fine. He's going to play, and Vegas is a great matchup, so you're definitely playing him. I might just temper expectations a little bit just because of the ankle injury, though, but not very much at all. A.J. Dillon against the Rams. Dillon, you get another week at the Dillon show. This is probably the last week, so if you don't need a stud running back for this week, you could trade him for somebody who does. Maybe get a solid wide receiver rest of the season, something like that, or maybe a tier down back that you'll be able to play for more weeks. Joe Mixon plays Pittsburgh. Tough matchup, but Mixon just gets a bunch of volume on the ground. We don't know if TJ Watt's going to play. He was declared out very early from last week, so that means he could be up in the air potentially for this week. 11, David Montgomery against Detroit. Montgomery, I think, is just going to keep getting volume, and this is a great matchup for him. I see him getting going. I think he's going to have 100 and a touchdown very soon. I think it should be this matchup. Cordarrelle Patterson should be good to go with the ankle. He was close to playing last week on a Thursday. Gets the long week. Now he can draw his Jacksonville, which is a great plus matchup. Definitely rolling out Cordarrelle Patterson this week with full confidence. 13, Nick Chubb against Baltimore. Chubb, I had him at 4 last week. Had a great week against Detroit, similar to what I see David Montgomery doing, but I think he'll have a good game against Baltimore as well. He's just one of the best runners in the NFL, and they have that great offensive line. Leonard Fournette against Indy. I think Leonard Fournette, another guy who can thrive in a tough matchup just because the quality of the offensive line and the offense in general, and he gets that pass catching work. 15, Darrell Henderson Jr. Had a couple slow games, had that bye though, which I think is going to be big for him. He's a smaller back, just rest up a little bit. He's going to be being heavily utilized basically all season. Green Bay, I know that they are one of the better run defenses in football this year, but they've sustained some injuries on defense this year. So I could see Darrell Henderson getting going finally. Saquon Barkley against Philly. This is just, he didn't get many carries last week. I want to see once he gets fully utilized, what he can do. Obviously, it was a blowout last week, but really, Saquon Barkley without the passing volume is a much, much worse player. So we're really waiting for that to come back. And, he needs a double-digit carries every week to be considered a top 10 back. Miles Sanders, a guy I would go out and try to acquire, quite honestly, plays the Giants this week. Had a great game last week on the ground against the Saints. Draws an easier matchup here. And, the Eagles have been running the ball a lot recently, so I would trade for and try to acquire Miles Sanders moving forward. Mark Ingram plays Buffalo. If Kamara doesn't play, you can plug him in all day which, they're playing on that Thursday. There's a good chance he doesn't in my mind. So Mark Ingram's a great play. 19, Melvin Gordon against the Chargers. He was one of those guys I put in my playoff trade target video because he has such great matchups the rest of the season. Also has great touchdown upside. Always has that nose for the end zone. So I have him as a top 20 play. Elijah Mitchell draws Minnesota. I think he'll play since he was close to playing last week, but they did say it was a functional issue with the finger. So if he doesn't have that function back, there's a chance that Jeff Wilson gets another start, which I don't think they'd be afraid to do at all. 21, Antonio Gibson against Seattle. He had a great 2-touchdown game 2 weeks ago. Now he had a great game on the ground last week. I think he had 95 rushing yards, so I think you can start rolling him out there pretty consistently as a top 20-something play and feel pretty confident in it. And he has some upside, too, if he can stay on the field. 22, Josh Jacobs against Dallas. Jacobs is great in games they win. I don't see them winning this game, to be quite honest with you, but they just got just got whooped by the Chiefs. So did Raiders 2 weeks ago, though, so we'll see who wins that game. Devonta Freeman, I think he's going to be a stud moving forward, quite honestly. He looks like the lead back right now for the Baltimore Ravens, which is going to be a valuable role. He's also catching the ball in the backfield. Had a good game last week, and this week probably gets Lamar back, so could have a real nice game. 24, touched on this matchup earlier, but Javonte Williams against that LA Chargers run funnel. I think they're going to run right into that funnel and love it the whole time. So Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, both are starts this week. And my last guy, Myles Gaskin against Carolina. It's a tough matchup. He does get volume, though, and he catches passes. So in a PPR league, I think you're fine with Gaskin. In half-point PPR, I would definitely go to one of these other options over him. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.